Welcome everyone to a casted game of Age of Empires 4, and today spawning on the east side of the map playing in purple, we've got Crackety here, playing as the Byzantines, and his opponent on the west side of the map playing in yellow. We've got Misatron, playing as the Jeanne d'Arc faction. Welcome everyone to Dry Arabia. That is the map for today, featuring two civilizations from the new DLC, the Sultan's Ascend. I'm excited for this one, like Byzantines, Jeanne d'Arc. And the reason why I'm really excited is because Jeanne d'Arc, we kind of know a lot about them. You know, the hero unit, very aggressive, tempo aggressive, kind of like the French in many ways with the, the additional hero unit with all her lovely abilities. But the Byzantines, I think they're going through a bit of flux, a bit of change recently about how they're played. Grand Winery was a thing, primarily as the first landmark to choose from. It was very popular. But I think now the aggression from the Byzantines are coming out slowly but surely. Especially with the new build that's there, with the additional villagers going out on stone, well, the early villagers coming out on stone, they'll be able to get an early sister network, which will be increasing the gather speed of villagers. Currently it's at 5% with the level 1, but of course, as you scale and connect cisterns like Crackety is about to do, that'll start to scale quite nicely. We'll go up to 10% with water level 2 and 15% for water level 3 and so on and so forth. You get the idea. And the reason why I think it's going to be an interesting one is because I would love to see the Imperial Hippodrome. I don't know if we're going to see it today, probably will, against Jeanne d'Arc, because we're kind of expecting a lot of aggression coming up for Jeanne d'Arc, right? And I think generally with good micro, the Byzantines in many ways have some good cavalry options, especially with the Triumph ability, right? Increases the attack of the cavalry by 20%, movement speed by 10%, and gives a extra +2 health regeneration over a couple of seconds. So it's pretty helpful. You know, you can micro, bring your weak units back and heal them up. It has a really good micro potential. Speaking about micro potential, I think there's been a good theme of the Sultan's Ascend DLC. You know, with the hero unit for Jeanne d'Arc, and obviously the Byzantines have a lot of abilities, and most civilizations have something about them that can be microed. This is going to be a very fast uptime, by the way, for the Jeanne d'Arc, because Jeanne d'Arc actually builds faster. I think it's 33% faster. In level 2, she does allow the villagers around her to have the same bonus. But, yeah, this is going to be going up pretty fast. We should see, he's got 3 villagers on stone, on gold rather, so should be able to afford a knight early, so that timing should be pretty fast. The Byzantines might need to invest in a barracks for some Limitini, just to defend. We'll see what he decides to do, whether it will be the Imperial Hippodrome or not. Wait, why is he not? Crackety? Okay, yeah, it's just delayed it for a few seconds. The tech up, and there is going to be the Imperial Hippodrome. I'm going to go up with 6 villagers to build that. And it's soon going to be able to afford his 3rd cistern, by the way. Probably looking to get some horsemen out nice and early. And, well, it's going to be horsemen versus knights at the beginning of the game. But, well, Byzantines, they do have a nice unit in the Limitini. They can be pretty tanky. They've got an ability that they can activate, which actually increases their resistance against archers. So, sort of the knight-archer follow-up for Jeanne d'Arc has got a different dynamic to deal with the Byzantines compared to the other civilizations. Speaking of which, well, Crackety will be keeping an eye out. Needs to be careful about Scout. Yeah, it does back away there in the end. And with 4 villagers on gold, it does look like it's going to be a very heavily based feudal age for the Jeanne d'Arc faction, at least for now, and Wheelbarrow coming in too. The Imperial Hippodrome going to be coming up at a similar time to the School of Cavalry. Obviously, Jeanne d'Arc really helping things along for the Jeanne d'Arc faction, and she does have a Royal Knight coming out onto the field very quickly, getting the extra XP for building. And that Royal Knight will be out pretty quickly. Now, what does the Byzantines have to defend? It's got to be careful, right? Now, the good thing is it does have a little ability for the cisterns called Akratoi. Gives the army, the nearby villagers, weapons. Gives them ability to attack +10, I think it is. And then also does increase their armor by +2. So I'm not sure how many shots it will take from a knight. Probably 3 maybe, we shall see. I'm not sure because the damage output is generally quite high for the knight. So it could possibly still be 2. We'll find out soon enough. It's starting to get a horseman out of the Imperial Hippodrome. Now, one of the units that I like, one of the researchers I'd like is Expilatores. It's a beautiful one. Increasing the +2 on the horsemen versus villagers and getting the gold when you get a kill. Does also get a couple of other ones as well. Numerai. Gonna get the trample damage bonus. And the trapezites for the last one. Kind of an interesting one. Like, I think that could be good for like a late game cheese, getting a mass scouts, horsemen just to try and get a landmark snipe. That could be kind of funny. There's the triumph ability that we saw and talked about earlier. The Royal Knight gonna go around the back to see if they can harass that stone mine, but villagers do get pulled away. For Crackety, he's paying attention. He's got that water level 3 now, so that's gonna be 15% bonus in terms of gather speed on those villagers. It's gonna be very, very, very nice. Now Jeanne d'Arc is going to venture out. She's gone for the woman-at-arms line. Going to be killing the... Wait, does she get XP for killing the deer? I think quite possibly, actually. No, I was going to go for the wolf first, maybe. Yeah, so she will get XP for killing this. Now, the good thing is that she has a lot of damage output. She's going to two-shot it. Just kind of bonkers. But the knight dives in on the wood line and trying to snipe a villager. Doesn't quite manage it. Does he use Akrotoi? Doesn't use it in the end. That's a lot of HP gone on the knight. Will he get the kill? Oh, no, just about gets away with it. With 2 HP, and Jeanne d'Arc might look to now invest in chivalry, actually. To heal up that knight. Knight coming in from the north this time. Trying to get the palisade walls up. He's going to go again. The knight might just dive on this for Misatron. It looks like he will. He's going to get the charge attack. So you have to go long around. Villagers do garrison inside, but will he keep that one alive? Doesn't quite. Does take 2 hits to kill them off and doesn't use... Wait, did he use Akrotoi? It might have done, actually. Oh, no. No, I think he did. Well enough, still 2 shots, and does have a couple of horsemen coming out now. But that knight going to be healing up in the town center once chivalry comes in, keeping him safe. Misatron looking to get an outpost on the gold. Could it be a fast castle behind this? Doesn't really have the food economy for that just yet, I would have thought. Getting for a blacksmith. Going to be getting that all-important free bloomery. Now, can afford a 4th cistern if he decides to get that. Here, Crackety. Setting a couple of horsemen just to try and deny the boar, right? I think... Oh, uses the Holy Wrath ability. He's going to try and snipe Jeanne d'Arc and might even be able to with the Triumph ability coming out. The boar getting action. I think he loses Jeanne d'Arc here. Misatron, before she gets called out with his hero unit, and she will die. And the good thing for Jeanne d'Arc, she can be respawned with a little bit of a bounty. 250 gold. A tribute, I should say. Doesn't have that gold. So he's going to have to wait for now. It's a nice way to bring it back into the fight quickly. But I'm afraid it doesn't have the gold for it. Going to be extending those palisade walls just to keep the base safe. And you kind of have to do this against the French or even Jeanne d'Arc. Because of course the level of aggression can be kind of crazy. But I have to say the Byzantines are the one looking aggressive. Look at the military numbers. This is what I'm saying. The horsemen are healing up. It's such a nice bonus, I got to say. I love seeing this. I think we're going to see a lot of it in Age of Empires 4, and I'm pretty excited for that. Of course, the knights are very expensive, and he's going to get fitted leatherwork to help out in the fights. Does he have chivalry? He does. So that knight will be healing up. Just gets in now, I think. Now, don't forget, I don't know if he actually has got the upgrade. Expilatores, no, not yet. Not yet. I think it's an interesting one. I think it's a bit difficult against the French, but against other civilizations, you could get quite a lot of raiding value, and that really scales quite nicely in the late game too. I mean, 20 gold is not huge in the late game. In the early game, it really makes a big difference, though. Because it's bad enough losing villagers, but if you lose villagers knowing that your opponent's getting 20 gold each time as well, it really does make things worse. Going to get the boar in the south just to deny the XP, the experience points for Jeanne d'Arc. Looks like he's going to wait the long route to get Jeanne d'Arc back and just wait it out for the cooldown. Lots of production buildings coming out. Now, bear in mind, dropping a keep, I think he's in the old French habits because there's no real reason to... Oh, it's just a nice base building, but don't be fooled to think that he's going to keep a keep there because that doesn't actually boost up the production buildings for Jeanne d'Arc. In fact, Jeanne d'Arc has a consecrate building ability, rather, which actually puts it on buildings and just reduces the food cost of them. There is also another upgrade that makes sure that wood and gold cost gets reduced as well, and speaking of Jeanne, she does now return to the battlefield. 17 military... Oh, Crackety's got to be careful not to lose units, right? It does have the Triumph ability to use to heal up, but needs to be careful not to outright lose units. And I think generally, like, cataphracts can be incredibly strong with the Triumph ability because they're very tanky, right? So you're not going to risk over-healing units, I guess, in a way you could call it. Got the mercenary house. Which contract will he go with? That is the question. Now, the Western mercenary contract has been very popular. So to get another cistern out there to get water level 4 connected up with the aqueducts. I'm going to go on the deer camp and gold. This is actually a really nice spot. I think it's going to be a really important spot to protect here for the Byzantines. And I think if you're Jeanne d'Arc, this is probably the spot you want to hit. Like there's a lot of food, a lot of gold. There's even berries, there's even a relic. There's even a gold out here. I'd love to see Crackety actually extend the walls to the palisades here. I think that would work quite well in his favour. Charging down does take a horseman. A couple of Limitane though, adding to the fight there for the Byzantines. That would be difficult for Jeanne to fight against, but Jeanne could potentially call in her champions when she does have access to them. They do actually have a plus bonus 8 damage against Limitane or Spearmen. The Jeanne's champions. We'll see what he decides to do here, Misatron. Getting steeled arrows, so possibly thinking about getting a couple of archers. They are heading on the field, and that's the right call, right? Against this number of Limitane, he has to do something to address that. Can he get walls in the north first, and then it does have a deer camp he can take there. But Crackety feeling aggressive, moving forward a little bit, moving out. Going to get survival techniques, so there's clearly an indication that he's going to go for the deer camp. And why wouldn't you, as any civilization? Oh, they're going to cross paths here. Misatron going to charge in with a couple of knights. Need to keep his army close together, though, because there's quite a few Limitane. Not enough archers there, you feel, for Misatron to deal with that. Or does get... Oh, dear, he managed to get out there in the end. Oh, Limitane might turn around. They do, and they do get an engagement against the knight. They do pick one off, and he backs away now. Does lose a Limitane, but definitely a good trade there. 1 Limitane for a knight. You take that every day. Does use the Holy Restoration, or Divine Restoration, I should say, that Jeanne d'Arc. Jeanne d'Arc going to start charging in, leading the front lines against the Limitane. The Limitane don't really have the movement speed to get out of there. Should be able to get out of there just in time. Probably behind those palisades, and Byzantines are going to have to regroup and build up a force. Oh, he turned around there for a second. He loses a unit. Here come a couple of archers, or longbows, I should say. Snipes out an archer. Nice pick off there by the Byzantines. I think it's a nice approach here to go for the longbows, right? Should be able to pick off villagers or even units that are retreating if they take an unfavourable engagement. Yeah, as we can see the consecrated buildings here, you see the little symbol on top of them. That's going to be reducing the cost. Just to give you an idea, like it's a good amount. 45 food for this hardened spearman out of this barrack, so it's going to cost 60. It's getting the right knights for cheaper as well. He's really starting to build up a large number of units here. He's going to have to be careful. He's producing a lot himself, though. Does have the nice olive grove transition around the town centre. That's going to give him a decent amount of olive oil coming in. Of course, he's foregoing the extra 60% bonus you get from getting the winery, the feudal age landmark, but I think the Imperial Hippodrome has done well for him already. Certainly helped him defend against the Jeanne d'Arc faction, running in with the knights here in the southeast now. Oh, might snipe a villager. I think the villager needs to back away. I'm not sure if she gets out in time, but unfortunately, she will be the sacrifice for the other villagers to survive. Oh, is there a gate there in the north? I hope so. Oh, there isn't yet, but there is one now, but the knights do back away. There's a lot of Limitane there. I was going to keep the gold safe for now. Alright, Jeanne d'Arc going to accompany the units across the map. And that's about to charge in. Limitane. They're going to brace. They're going to take out a knight and a scout. Takes out the vision. That's actually quite key. Makes things a little bit more difficult for the Jeanne d'Arc now. And it's going to regroup. Might be thinking about getting a couple of rams here, Misatron. Maybe he's going to push in the feudal age. We'll have to see. But Crackety here gets to the castle age. That's absolutely huge. These units are going to be upgraded. The eco is looking strong, right? The extra 20% gather speed on the villagers now with the water level 4. That is incredibly strong. And Misatron going to push in now, you feel. The house is upgraded. Gives a lot of vision, by the way. For the Byzantines with that upgrade they have. It's called, what is it called again? It's called Border Settlements. There it is. See how much vision they get. Kind of crazy, right? Look how much vision he gets from the house. To be fair, there's the outpost there, but it's quite significant. Yeah, this is a tricky situation for Misatron, right? He's got a large army, but he can't really do much with it. That's never a good thing. But he's going to go to the castle age. But the good thing for him is he does have army that he'll scale, right? He's going to upgrade his knights, and they're going to be very relevant in the castle age. If they were horsemen, it becomes a bit more difficult because obviously they become veteran horsemen, but it's not really a game changer in the castle age. You kind of want the next tier of units, the heavily armored units, where it's lancers, knights, camel lancers if you've got them, crossbows, man-at-arms. You want those heavily armored units, gold units. But yeah, we're going to be heading across the map now. Crackety in the castle age, going to be looking to snipe Jeanne, and I think Jeanne goes down here. She does. That was rough. The veteran longbowman sniping her. It's going to be the Royal Institute. I like that from Jeanne d'Arc because there's kind of a tendency to go for Guildhall, but you can kind of feel that Crackety is going to push quite hard, right? So if Bloodlines comes in for these knights, they're going to do a lot of damage. It's going to be a bit difficult for Crackety to really push this back. The longbowmen are going to get a couple of archers there coming out of production. What's actually kind of tricky here for Misatron is that Crackety might actually just camp on the production buildings. That makes things a little bit tricky. He does get to the castle age himself, though. So might be able to look to mount a response. It does get the upgrades coming in. Bloodlines, and then also the veterancy upgrades coming in for the Royal Knights. That's going to be key. Crackety here, maybe looking to just attack that wood line. Keeping cautious, because of course he does have more troops on the way. Slowly but surely. Also picking a couple of relics as well, possibly here with a monk or two. And hasn't actually fully extended his wall, so could be open to raiding here. Needs to be careful about that. Veterancy upgrades do come in for the French knights, or I should say Jeanne d'Arc's knights. That's quite a deadly army, one of each, right? Got knights, spearmen and archers. Could come down to one big fight. We'll have to see exactly how it works out. Limitane keeping the longbows and a couple of crossbows safe. Peeling away a couple of cavalry there in the south. 4 horsemen, just to see what he can find if there's any villages on the boar, right? I'd love to see this about the high level players. They always look at the economy and points that could be exposed. He's going to take off a villager and a second. That's huge. And a third. Massive pickings there. Jeanne does return back to the battlefield. He's going to burn through the palisades quite quickly. A lot of Limitane are going to be doing that. One with the Royal Institute at the back. He's on the deer camp. He's got to pull those villagers away. Misatron a bit slow to react there. He went back with the villagers. He's going to lose a couple more. He's going to be punished quite heavily for that. The longbowman doing great work there already. It's a good start to the push here for Crackety. But he's going to need more. Has got the water level up to level 5 now. It's going to be an increase of 25% on the gather rate. But not only that. Is a 100% increase of production speed of these production buildings. The units are going to start to really trickle out. Economy scaling into a lot of military production. It feels like that's really the powerhouse of the Byzantines. When it gets to water level 5, things really ramp up. Got a couple of horsemen cycling around the back, just keeping things honest for the Jeanne d'Arc. That's overcommitting with the knight. It's going to charge in, but that's going to leave him exposed on the front. And those knights are not going to be there in the fight. That's absolutely huge by Crackety. Using only 4 horsemen to take away a good number of knights. Jeanne d'Arc following as well, and it should be okay to hold on the front though. It's going to be distracted by the production builders here, Crackety. But that's a lot of knights to chase just for a handful of horsemen. Misatron has to be careful not to be baited too far away from the main fight because he's not going to be able to engage this without his knights. Decent number of crossbows that are added in the feather Byzantines. That will do well against the knights. Can take out one production building. This is precarious for Misatron. Has a production building on the front. Does escape through the palisade walls that weren't rebuilt in the end. It's going to be rebuilt now. And we'll go back onto food. Good bit of idle time caused there by Crackety. Those villagers needed to be getting food for the production. Decent number of military for both players though at this point. Relics being brought in. One in the bank already for Crackety. One more coming in soon. But again, this has been such a problem situation here on the west side. More villagers going down and 8 villagers killed so far. It's going to torch this down. Another sore point there for the French, or the Jeanne d'Arc I should say. Limitane do brace, but there's a lot of knights charging in. And there's a lot of spearmen there for Jeanne d'Arc. He might just win this fight. Uses the Divine Restoration and the Holy Wrath ability. She does die though. And there's a good pick off there by Crackety, but he might lose this fight. There's a lot of units here for the Jeanne d'Arc. Going to be cycling around the back with the knights. Going to go try and jump on top of the crossbows if they can. Jeanne returns to the battlefield. He played the premium for that unit. She's going to join the fight again, once again. Crossbow is going to die to the archers. We're going to be like to try and pick off as many of the knights as he possibly can. But they're going to get surrounded and body blocked. And the archers... Oh no, the longbowmen are focusing on the villagers. Misatron, save the villagers. He's going to lose one there. Could have been worse. But now Crackety, he's really down and out on villager count. On a military count, rather. Does have the advantage in military and in the village count. Getting all mixed up there. But it's not the be-all and end-all that loss there for Crackety, because he does have a stronger economy, right? So he should be able to reproduce that army. But this is a window of opportunity here for Misatron, just to take advantage of having the better military numbers. And Jeanne is back on the field, fighting as well. Has now been upgraded to a knight. Check that out. She is strong. 450 HP, 22 attack. Calling in her champions, I think. There we are. 3 champions. They do a +8 damage against spearmen, so spearmen or limitani aren't going to be all that effective against those. But in good numbers, of course, they're going to be focusing on the knights instead. He's burning his way through the palisades. There's no real way for Crackety to keep him out for too long, and you've got to be careful with Crackety. He's got to muster up a force. What will he build? What will he train? What will he get onto the fight? The good thing for the Byzantines is that when he does get the economy, I mean, he's struggling on food, right? That's the problem. He's got production capabilities, that's for sure. It's going to go down to water level 4 with that cistern going down, and looks like the French, or Jeanne d'Arc really, is pushing forward hard. It's going to get crossbow stirrups. Increasing the attack speed of Aoe4. Burn through that barracks. First production building is down. Now he's got to focus on the next. Stable going to be going next, and then the barracks. And this is a problem for Byzantines. He needs to find a solution. Does have army coming out. He's got to buy himself some time, really. Spent all of the olive oil that he can muster. There's other 2 relics which are kind of exposed. Another relic being brought in. Might try and get a Wallow here. Here's a ram out for Jeanne d'Arc. Pushing in to try and take the production buildings. Bringing guards on the front line. Uses the Holy Wrath ability there, Jeanne. And the crossbows there enough in numbers, you feel. I think the knights... I mean, if the knights get on the crossbows, it would be a different story. But if they can get there, that's the question. A couple of lance connector adding into the mix. If they get close to the infantry, that will dish out damage. Ram focusing on the barracks for now. And that's a strong push here from Jeanne d'Arc. The knights are healing up. Crackety bringing a relic in. But there's already 3 in that monastery. Gonna have to build another. Maybe looking to go for a cheeky Wallow just to buy time, right? That could be an option. Ram going to take out the stable next. But this is looking like a very strong position for Jeanne d'Arc. Gets crossbow stirrups. Increases the attack speed of these Arbaletiers now. And Crackety, he needs a response. But if he holds, he should be in a good spot. Question is if he can hold. Divine Restoration coming up for Jeanne to heal up all those units. That's a full strength army here. Monk is there. Going to look to try and get Wallow just to buy time really more than anything. Knight's going to dive in. Oh, he's going to block. He's going to body block. Could this be a massive Wallow? Divine... Ooh, holy smokes. Well, the Jeanne d'Arc does go down. Wallow comes out and pushes the knights back. But this is huge. That gives an allowance to the crossbows to get a lot of DPS, right? Whilst the knights are retreating, bringing guards, tanking on the front line. Knights coming in from the back again. The monk has to be safe and secure. Crossbows trying to hold their fort, but the Arbaletier should be able to win that fight. And this is looking tricky for Crackety. How does he deal with this? Has a couple of longbowmen adding into the mix. Limitani heading forward. Do have that ability in place. They move slower, but they tank the arrow fire. The monk, there's still a cooldown on that relic. The monk's going to go down. He's going to be sacrificed. And is now down towards level 4. Crackety is building up the economy though. Look at that, 2,000 food. He's got the olive grove transition in the back. He's taking the berries as well, and he's got 1,000 olive oil to spend. Oh, there's a lot of longbowmen caught out by the knights. But in that choke point, that's a bit difficult for Misatron to actually dive into. It would be good for him to see some sacred sites captured by Jeanne d'Arc, as she does have the map control now, and Jeanne d'Arc could capture them herself. Misatron, though, he's lost a lot of villages, so he's kind of down. I mean, yeah, he's still producing, but it just seems a bit slow, right? Look how many villages he's got in excess here, Crackety. Has he got a second town centre somewhere? Almost feels like he has, but it doesn't seem like it. He's just managed to really pump out those villages. I don't know if Misatron's idle his town centre or not, but he does seem shockingly behind. Did lose 11 to be fair, but okay, so Jeanne does now return back to the battlefield. And the push comes in once more. But now we see cataphracts. We're going to see the trample damage coming in from those, the trample ability, and the economy is looking pretty strong here for Crackety. He's sustaining the production of those. These guys are beefy. Take a look at this. 360 HP, 29 melee attack. Compare that to the French Royal Knight. 310, 26 attack. Just the cataphract is better. Straight up. Obviously it's more expensive, but... And now we are getting to that critical moment of the game where you think there might be a critical fight, because take a look, the cataphract's just about to ride in. They might use the trample damage, we shall see. They do use it. You see the red glow going through right on top of the Arbaletier, and they're going to be sniping them very quickly with the Arbaletier. Going down quite quickly. They do have crossbowmen there, the Byzantines on the back line, and the Limitane focusing on keeping the front line alive. And the cataphracts do go down to the Arbaletier, but they did a lot of damage. Jeanne comes in, but maybe a little bit too little too late. That ram just being a bit of a pesky annoyance. Does use the Holy Wrath ability there, Jeanne. She doesn't get all that much value. And now the Arbaletier are left alone. There's no meat shield, no front line to protect them. Cataphracts, they do use the trample once again, and Jeanne's going to have to back away from that position. She's got to find an escape route because she's going to be tracked down and slaughtered. And won't be for the first time in the game. She's got to find an escape route, but the trouble is that she's been walled in here. There's no real easy escape here at this point. And the Byzantines and Crackety here surely are going to chase her down, and looks like she might lose her life once again. Now, the Byzantines were under pressure there for quite a while from Jeanne d'Arc. She thought she could push in ahead, but little did she know the Byzantine production, the war machine, came back alive and is now alive and kicking and pushing back. Now, it's just a matter of when and not whether she will lose her life. I think you see the crossbows will snipe her down in the end. Might use one Holy Wrath ability just in the end. Doesn't quite manage to get that, I don't think. And she does fall victim to the Byzantine army. Now, the real concern is the army that's heading forth. 73 military versus 4. Crackety here took a great fight. A small battalion there led by a cataphract, a small group of longbowmen in the south, and a massive chunk of the army that did chase down Jeanne d'Arc are going to be pushing forward once again. And this is looking a bit tricky now for Misatron. He's going to have to try and back off and recover as much as possible. Try and build up the forces, but with only 55 villagers, you felt like that was the last push, because at the point of this match now, being pushed off that central gold, the Byzantines, they're not going to take any prisoners, they're just going to go straight ahead and deal out as much damage as possible. Now, it's kind of interesting to see that a little bit of aggression coming out from the Byzantines. Often seen as a relatively passive civilization, but we've seen today how they can be played differently. Crackety here showcasing just how they can happen. Getting the south, that keeping a nice spot there for Crackety, protecting that gold vein and sacred site. Pushing away the Royal Knight. It's going to go up to the Imperial Age as well behind this all Crackety, so it does look like a formality at this point. If it isn't sealed out with this one last push, it's going to be the Foreign Engineering Company coming in behind that, going to give access to the Byzantines for the Hui Hui Pao, Nesta Bees and the Royal Cannon. They might not need any of that because Cataphract's going to dive in. Does have one Royal Knight and a couple of Arbaletier, 2 Royal Knights. You feel like it's not going to be enough, and the ranged units for Crackety here are going to be picking up the pieces. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Cataphracts ride in to take the victory for the Byzantines on Dry Arabia against Jeanne d'Arc. If you guys have been watching on YouTube, I hope you enjoyed the casted game, and if you did, do give the video a thumbs up. Take care, and see you next time.